Episode 4 of Noragami Season 2 gave us the fight we had wanted for so long, but that ending right there just broke my heart. I could not believe what had happened. I never thought Yukine would get slashed in half like that. And seeing that now, obviously there is no way he's gonna die, but I do wonder what in the world will happen next. Yato has to find some way to get him repaired, and hopefully he can do it in time. And to make things worse, not only did we see his sword form get cut in half, but then we see his body actually get cut in half as well. And that right there, man, even though Yukine was annoying, doing some parts of season 1, I still like his character, and that right there just freaking killed me seeing him get cut down like that. But this episode overall, it was freaking awesome. We got a ton of story progression. We finally learned why Veena or Bishamon hates Yato. And that right there, all the time I was thinking that Yato did kill her family because they were all infected. And that right there, I'm definitely glad I was right about. But we see now that in the beginning of the episode, we have Kazuma and Hiyori. They are now locked away in some kind of cell. And we see now that when Hiyori wakes up, obviously she thinks that because she's in spirit form, she can be all badass. And we see her now trying to kick down the door. But we have Kugaha. He actually put some kind of spell and made a barrier around the door, so that way she could not kick it down so easily. And so we see now that Hiyori, if she stays in this world, I guess, or on this plane of existence for a long period of time, she will definitely die. And we see now that Yato, he actually took her to a hospital, and we see now that Hiyori's mother was there. And of course she was worried, and she was praying to the gods to save her daughter. And when we have Yato walking away, I do not recall Yato ever making a face that showed how pissed he was. And so now we see Yato, he actually went to get Yukine, who was obviously at Kofuku's, place. And so we see now that Yukine, he was thinking, what happened, or why did this happen? And now we see at first he was blaming Yato, but then Yukine has started to believe in that this right here was all his fault. But luckily Yato was able to quickly snap him out of it. And so we see now that they were going to find some way to get to Bishamon's place. And then we have Kofuku's regalia trying to stop Yato and Yukine from doing this, because Bishamon, she has a name, and obviously if Yato killed her, she would be reborn, but Yato has no name, so if he dies, he's gone for good. And we see that his words were definitely not reaching him. And so we see now that they have went to Tenjin, who we all know is a very popular god, and we see that that Yato had went to him because he was the only one or the only god that we know of who could send him there, because this guy does have a shrine and people do come to him rather frequently. And so right now at first he would not do it, but he had two conditions that Yato had to agree with. And the first one was no one could ever find out that he had any involvement in this. And the other was that I believe that the other condition was that, after this, he definitely has to make sure that Hiyori's soul cannot, come out of her body anymore. And so right now, going back to Kazuma and Hiyori, Hiyori asked Kazuma something that I've been wondering for a long time, because we see now that a lot of Bishamon's regalia, they all end in Ha, but Kazuma was the only one to end in Ma, and that right there, makes a lot of sense. And so we learn now that gods normally add these characters at the end of their regalia's name as a little family thing. And so right now Kazuma is actually the sole survivor of the Ma clan, because we all know Yato killed them all. And right now her current clan is the Ha clan, and she has two regalias, Kugaha, who I believe that right there is not his real name, or it's possible that, Kugaha might be a Nora, and that right there would explain why Kazuma could not, chain him by his name. And so right now we also have Aiha as well. And by her going against Bishamon orders and attacking Yato and following, Kugaha, we see now that she has all these blight marks now appearing on her body more frequently. And we see now that Kugaha, he was showing his real colors now when he called her a dimwit. But finally, we learn, Kugaha's master plan, and we see now that what he wants to do is he actually wants to get Bishamon killed and have her reborn, because she is a popular god. And at first I thought maybe Kugaha had wanted to be, the next god of war, but no, he actually wants to take Kazuma's place and be like her right-hand man. And that right there is definitely messed up, because what I don't get is he already got rid of Kazuma, and right now, he definitely seems like Bishamon, a right-hand man. So I don't see why he would want her to be, reborn for that. But apparently, obviously, I'm thinking at least he wants to mold her, the new Bishamon, and what I'm guessing might be his perfect image of a god. I'm not really sure, but at least that right there is what it seems like. And we see now that when Kazuma, have finally realized what he was planning, obviously there was no way he could warn her. But once Yukine and Yato had arrived, we see now that, Yato did not waste any time, and we see him, cut down, her front door. And so now when Bishamon actually showed up, I was surprised to see her, fighting so well, because, even Kugaha was saying that basically Aiha is poisoning her, and I'm pretty sure that the medicine that Kugaha was giving her is also having some effect as well. And so we see now that when Bishamon was fighting, she was not showing any sign of weakness. In fact, because her power was not in check by Kazuma, she was actually going all out, and we see just how strong she really can be, because we see that even Yukine was having some trouble when it came to deflecting or cutting down some of those bullets. But I will say that it was pretty cool when Yato did cut the first one, in half. That right there looked pretty freaking good. And so right now, their fight between them, like I said, this fight right here had been hyped up for so long that I definitely enjoyed it. I will say, Bishamon definitely, deserved that name of God of War, because she was definitely on point. We see her now, show her real power, and of course we also have her regalias, fighting as well, and that right there was awesome. I will say personally, besides Kazuma, I will say that the old lion one, that right there is probably my favorite, regalia Bishamon, because that guy's a freaking lion. And of course, he has the badass scar over his eye, and I do wonder if they will explain that, because obviously, like Kazuma said, despite being a god of war, Bishamon is definitely, very kind. And after Yato had killed her previous family, she had turned any spirit she could find into her regalia. Obviously, they all are weapons, but still. And so now we see that a god of great strength is definitely required to have so many regalia, and that right there is also taking a toll on Bishamon as well, and she is still fighting so freaking well. And so now we see, quite a few times actually, she had overpowered Yato, and we see her now as I believe it was her lion, and her whip, and some other regalia as well. She had turned them back into humans, and she had told them, to wait for an opening. And now going back to Kazuma's story, we see now that when he first became a regalia. He was not that earring that we see her wearing now in like modern times. Back then he was like just a nail that had went into her ear, and we see now that all her other regalias, like had looked down on him because they were saying, how dare he impale our master like that. And so we see at first Kazuma was like definitely struggling as he could not even make a proper borderline. And so now we see that he had wanted to live up to like Bishamon's expectations. And so we see that, when she started, getting sick, he was like definitely worried about her. And we see now that like no one had wanted to admit they were the one who actually, were the ones that were like blinding her. And we see now now I believe that old woman, she was the original one who has Kazuma plays now. We see her, mention Yato, and after that, she had mentioned, that little ritual they could do to get rid of Blight, but that right there was not working. No one stepped forward, and Bishamon was like getting sicker and sicker, and eventually, all of the regalias in the mob family eventually turned on each other, and Kazuma had no choice but to go to Yato, and back then he had Nora. And to me, that right there was a bit disappointing. I do know Yato, like used Nora back in the day, but to me personally, I was hoping to see what kind of regalia that like Yato had originally. Maybe Nora, or whoever is Nora now. It's possible she was like Yato's regalia, original regalia, and it's possible he got rid of her because right now, or at least back then, Yato was like known for listening to Nora. And so that right there, I am also interested in, because I do wonder how did Yato first come across this like little girl. And so eventually now, all these, infected regalia, they became one huge phantom, and that thing looked creepy as hell, but luckily Bishamon, she was not absorbed yet. And so now we see that when we have Yato, fighting it, we see him now cutting off chunks and pieces, and they were all regalias crying out for help. And so right now, right now we have Bishamon saying, don't kill them, and they are good children, even though they are calling her to like suffer so much. And so right now, after Yato had like killed them all, we see now that right there is where her hatred come from. But I'm thinking that if Bishamon knew that she was like getting infected like this, she should be somewhat grateful. But Kazuma was like definitely right when he said, Yato is not your enemy, he's your savior, because he really saved her life back then and saved her, from like not getting, reborn. And so now as their fight continue, we have one of her regalias that actually managed to like knock Yukine out of its hands. And so we have the other ones, making some kind of like shield around Yato that like he could not get out of. And that right there was like similar to what they used on Yukine back when they did that ritual on him. Oh, and also early on we have Kofuku's regalia. He actually wanted to go after Yato and like stop him, and we see that all this time Kofuku, she was like very quiet and saying nothing, and because obviously now she was thinking about everything that was like going on, and eventually now because of her being the god of poverty, she actually wanted to bet on Bishamon, because that right there would mean she would excuse me, that right there would mean she will lose. And so right now she's like definitely worried about Yato, but of course she actually wants him to come back to her. And so I do wonder if she will make a move or not, because right now she actually can't really act, because if she does, that right there will cause a huge storm and kill a lot of people, which she definitely doesn't want to happen. But we see now that when it seemed like Bishamon was like getting the upper hand, we have and that right there is where the ending came into place, where we have Yukine pretty much sacrificing himself, to protect Yato, and that right there is where the episode went off on probably one of the meanest cliffhangers you could possibly do. So I'm definitely curious to see, what happened next. Oh, and also, it was definitely, like to me it seemed like some pretty good character development where we have Yukine who should like normally be pissed off right now, but in fact he actually feels for Bishamon regalias, even though that right there almost like costed Yato the fight, because he was saying that like he could not kill them because they are regalias like him. And so I do wonder if maybe those regalias will also, you know, kind of bond with like Yukine, and maybe this right here could be the like that right there could be a trigger point for Bishamon to finally forgive Yato and, you know, and move on from like what he did years ago or centuries ago, even though he saved their life. But overall for the episode, it was fantastic. I loved the fight. That cliffhanger definitely got to me, and of course because of that, I am definitely looking forward to episode 5. And also that preview, it seems something definitely going to happen, you know, to Yukine next week. But of course, don't forget to let me know what you guys thought about the episode, and don't forget to like and subscribe because it really helps me out. But as always, you guys take it easy, and I will see you all next time.